excited when you booked because I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had looked through everything and I'm like, wait, I don't see any porn stars on here yet.
No.
So let me go ahead and insert myself into the picture.
Yeah, my no jumper moment. Because he does that, and he's interviewed some interesting people before. So thank you for coming on the show, Kalani Luana.
Of course, thank you for having me.
You're a big star.
I try to be.
Millions of views.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna talk about all that. So for those that don't know, appreciate you coming on the podcast. You hit me up. You was down to talk about it, which I felt like is fascinating stuff, which is the adult film world, because people confront, but I know a lot of my friends, they go to Pornhub, they go to xvideos.com, and there's some other ones that are very prevalent. We all watch it. We all watch porn. So you told me you participate in the industry.
I'm one of the glizzy gobblers of the world.
Is that what they call it? A glitzy gobbler?
A glizzy gobbler,
A glizzy gobbler. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you probably don't eat hot dogs for real. Like, no.
I actually do, but I prefer chili cheese dogs.
Okay, all right.
A little extra topping.
I love a Miller's hot dog. You probably don't know what a Miller's hot dog is. It's like a certain brand, but it's a really good hot dog. Glizzy gobbler. Okay, so tell me, how you got into it, if we could just dive right into it, because it's like, did you watch it before you were in the business? Were you
So I wasn't necessarily an avid porn watcher, but I've always been a businesswoman, and I was already escorting beforehand.
Okay.
And I had seen she was actually a former escort and retired porn star.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got to go a little closer.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, this feels like ASMR.
Hey, what's ASMR?
It's like when you give all those extra noises and the clicking and tapping.
Bro, I hate that. I'm a natural sound porn guy anyway. I like the realness. That's like, you wouldn't do that there. Okay, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, I had seen this retired porn star and former escort acting as a third party for a porn company, basically casting. And I figured, that's an easy way to gain traffic to my escorting. It's an easy, free advertising alley. And I contacted her. She loved my look immediately, connected me with the company, which was actually Net Video Girls, one of the casting couches.
Oh, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Right?
So my debut was on Net Video Girls, and it actually, the same week I contacted her was the same week I ended up shooting. I think it was within 72 hours. It went super quick.
So you never done it before. You hit up a company, you're thinking this looks interesting. It's obviously very paid, promising.
Right.
Did that intrigue you about it, or was it the whole business side of it that intrigued you about it?
1,000% the business side. I was, before OnlyFans existed, there was the Snapchat Premium girls that were selling their Snapchat accounts and, posting lewd and lascivious stuff. And so I was selling my homemade sex tapes on Snapchat for $80 per 10-minute clip.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's a whole nother world, the underground amateur porn scene.
Right, amateur porn. And so I was already selling my own stuff. Then I seen her little advertisement, and I'm like, you know what? Time to go to the big screen.
Right.
And they wanted me instantly. I met up with the producer the same night I spoke to her, and then I think a day or two after that is when I shot.
Oh, wow. Okay. So were you nervous when you did it? Or was it nah, I've done this before. It's just on camera. Because it's weird having a camera, right? Or is it not weird now? I feel like it's not so weird as much.
At first, no, I can't even say that I was nervous, because for the first shoot for Net Video Girls, they weren't super in my face. They had the cameras on tripods like that. So they had different cameras positioned throughout the room. And I don't remember anybody doing any close-up other than the actual male talent. He was holding the camera at one point for POV angles.
Okay, right. And so that's not as bad, obviously. Someone just like a fat guy just looking at you with the camera. Obviously it's...
Now, what I can say is at one point in filming, I looked up, and there was 2 producers there that day. And I did look up. They were each standing behind cameras, basically just checking the shot. And I had caught one of them groping himself while I was mid-shoot. And I just happened to look up. I saw it, and I just looked right back down at what I was doing. So you know what? No distractions.
Are you sure it wasn't an itch, or he was going for the keys in his pocket, maybe?
It was like one of those slow, sensual motions. I know it wasn't an itch.
And he looked at you while he was doing it.
Oh, he was like lockjawed.
Yeah.
Lockjawed, dead side on me. And it was actually my first scene was a threesome. It was a boy, girl, girl.
Boy, girl, girl. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That wasn't your first scene?
First professional, yes.
First professional scene was a threesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot to ask. I guess they just threw you in the mix, obviously, like literally.
I think they knew I could handle it. It's like how they say, you know, God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. That's like me in the porn world. I lost my virginity to 10 inches, so I take anything.
Okay, but it was off camera, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where my head's at. I'm just, you know. Okay, so the first professional scene was a threesome, and how does that go behind the scenes? Like, you meet these people. Isn't it like, did you get like that nervous feeling when you meet people? Like, that you're about to do it, you know?
No, I really have one of those personalities where it's hard to make me feel awkward or uncomfortable. Like, you have to be intentionally trying to make me feel uncomfortable to make me feel uncomfortable.
And what's your sign?
Sagittarius.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
We're out there.
Very outgoing people, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Life of the party.
In fact, I think my biggest issue with my first shoot was acting innocent and naive. I kind of just wanted to jump straight to it, like, pull your dick out. And they're like, no, you have to act like you're not here for sex. Because they like, they posed it as like a calendar photo shoot. And then I ended up getting fucked by the
photographer.
Yeah, type thing.
Right, because it's fantasy.
Exactly.
That is so funny, because like when men try to get at women, they're just trying to get to the chase, right? Like they're just trying to like do it, and then like women want the whole foreplay, right? I was explaining this to a guy at the gym the other day, like, because he was like, "How'd I get at this girl?" I was like, "You can't just ask her out. She got a boyfriend. Like, you gotta ease into that. Even like, you know, they're not happy. Like, you just can't act. Like, it has to be like some foreplay set up for her to be interested." And he kind of did get that. But with porn, with men, like, now we want the foreplay. Now we want like the scenes.
That's crazy that you say that, because that's true.
Right.
And, you know, like most female porn stars were like, no, just pull it out.
Just pull it out. Just do it. I got a 4:00 and I got a hair appointment after, so let's just skip the foreplay.
It's funny. My best friend, she had mentioned how she was like with this group of rap guys in Miami, and one of them had tried to like take her into the bathroom to fuck. And she literally got mad and looked at him and was like, I'm not in fucking high school. You can pull your dick out right here in the middle of the studio if that's what you want. I'm not going to the bathroom and fucking you like a child.
Well, she was gonna do it in the studio?
In front of everybody.
Was this like a job, or was this just hanging out? Like,
she got booked by him, yes. So it's like, at that point, like, yeah, pull it out. Like, I'm not going to the bathroom and sneaking.
Wow, y'all just gonna do it in the studio.
Look.
That's amazing.
In the studio, on the sidewalk, in the grocery store, just not the bathroom or the car. That's so childish.
Bathroom in the car. Okay, we're going into a whole nother era of time. I don't want to go there yet, because the car is funny, because you know a lot when it's about the car, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's a whole sneaky link, 1,000%.
And it, like, but do you guys care? This is a whole other subject.
I don't care about a sneaky link, but I got back problems. I'm not bending over in the car.
Right, the car is very uncomfortable.
Like, unless you have like a Maybach, or,
I know women
where
like
I could kick my feet back.
With the star-like ceilings, you know.
I like the stars in the ceiling.
Yeah, everyone like this. If you don't have stars in your ceilings, don't ask to have.
In the car.
Yeah, and that's the thing with women. I don't care what level. Like when you're dating, when you're trying to, you know, like women, you're like, are you trying to do it where? Like in the car. Like you got like a secret wife or something we don't know about. Okay, and then like. But going back to the threesome though, so there was no nervousness, but you had like the weird producers. What is it like behind the scenes? Like, because this is what I heard from people that produce porn. I don't know why I'm laughing, but like, it's just that it can get kind of gross.
Oh yeah.
That like there's stuff you have to wipe. There's farting. Has someone ever like farted?
Oh my god!
And like during the scene, and
because
sex fart's horrible, right? Because it's sweaty. There's stuff dripping down the back to the thing.
No, it's worse than that, because it's like women, we prep our bodies accordingly before shoots. the men don't give a fuck. Like, there was one time I was shooting one of my male colleagues, and he's like notorious for this. I can think of like 3 guys that are notorious for just ripping ass on set. But this said one, I remember one time me and him were shooting, and one of my female colleagues was actually holding the camera. So he's standing up, I'm on my knees sucking his dick, and she's like on her side, or like on the side, getting the side angle in between the two of us. I'm nose to his stomach, and this man just completely ripped one as like he's all the way down my throat.
And you're right there.
As he's all the way, so I'm as close to his ass as I can possibly be at that point. And I literally just looked up at him with his dick still down my throat, and I literally just coughed it up and was like, seriously? And then there was another time he was on set that same week, and he had let one out, but we were in an orgy, so it was 3 guys, 2 girls. And he just ripped one in the middle of shooting, and we all looked at him like, dude. And he was like, was that shrimp? Like, bro, you cannot be fucking for real right now.
Oh my gosh. There's got to be like a certain diet you do when you have sex that day in the porn scene, because it's like you're gonna be
a salad.
Like
no.
you're moving a lot, you're gyrating. That's
he will go for like full plates of soul food, or like Jamaican with the oxtails, like just as gritty as he could possibly get, the heaviest meals ever, and then wonder why his stomach's bubbling on set the whole time.
Seasoned food doesn't come out well the other end.
Starch doesn't either, and neither does beans.
Is that a retake? What happens when that, like, timeout? Like, do you pull the timeout? Is there a timeout?
When you're dealing with, like, all professionals, like, honestly, you just keep going, and those 5 seconds get cut out of the clip.
Yo, that's wild. Yo,
you just keep going.
That's wild.
You react for those few seconds, you build a bridge, you get over it, and you keep on fucking.
Props to the editor. It's good editing.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have good editors, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's like the mindset. Like, we got to just finish the scene out. There's no stopping.
That's always the mindset. Don't just go straight through. Like, that's honestly my biggest pet peeve with working with newcomers and amateurs is, like, they like to stop and, like, okay, let's take a break. No. Let's start to finish straight through, cut out what's not relevant, and just keep on going.
That's awesome. What happens when, because I always find it curious, like, this is a stupid thing I think about if I watched it, like the kissing thing, right? Like, how does that get decided? Because sometimes it seems like the girl doesn't really want to get kissed, and you see little slide technique, like, let me just go down here and suck on that instead. Like that's weird, right? Because like the guy wants to kiss, and the girl usually does. They don't want to. Or like, I mean, you tell me, what's like the odds and percentages of that?
So every performer is different. We all have our own limitations, boundaries. Kissing is actually one of my limits. I don't kiss people because just in my personal life, I'm not. I'm weird about kissing. If you're not my partner, I can kiss women perfectly fine. I'll make out with women all day.
It's sexy.
But like with men, I don't know. I just see them as like drooling dogs.
And they do it a little too much. Like, not a lot of men know how to kiss. Like, they slobber and they look at you and they put their eyes open. That's
just
really
not
creepy.
sexy.
Like, yeah.
It's not. It scares me. And it's like men do too much and not enough at the same time. So it's just like, don't do it. Don't do it.
But they try to do it. Or do you get
not
that,
with me?
Not because so you get that worked out off of camera. Then.
Oh yeah, I let people know in advance. Like, I mean, if it wasn't already obvious, because if you look at my entire catalog, you will never see me kiss anybody but a woman.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's great.
So it's like it's kind of an
standards.
Unspoken rule with me that I don't eat ass, I don't kiss. Yeah, people kind of know that.
Eating ass is nasty. I don't know why.
I don't know what the hype is.
I just don't get the whole eating ass because, and then I don't care if you recently wiped and did all that.
I don't know. It's just something about bile exiting that hole and you thinking I'm going to shove my tongue as deep as I can up it. That just doesn't sit right with me.
And have you ever like gone to a set and been like, I have a problem with the partner. I'm just not feeling it. Like, can you not do that? You just really can't do that. Because I find it interesting in the industry that women will just do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy for us to do it. Honestly, like, women don't like hearing this or, like, even admitting to it, but all we have to do is lay on our back, dude.
Is it that easy, though?
Like, of course you need to perform.
Dry? Like, you're not into it? Like,
lube, spit.
Lube's very important.
There's so many ways to, like, cover up a woman's erectile dysfunction. It's not the same for men. Like, I'd say men do have it a little harder as far as, like, the performance aspect in porn.
Yeah. So is it... is it at times enjoyable like that? So even though you're not into the partner, it's still enjoyable. That's a fascinating thing for women to admit. I'm sorry, but like.
Yeah, I don't have to be physically attracted to you to enjoy the sex. As long as the sex itself is good, I don't care what your face looks like.
Wow, that's fascinating, Kalani. That is fascinating. Oh God, the creeps are coming out on this clip. Okay, so.
Oh yeah.
This is interesting, fascinating stuff. Especially the farting, because it's like. Well, because, when I go to public events or public things I gotta do, I watch what I eat. Because a lot of young people will go to Taco Bell because they're in a rush, right? Like you're trying to make the shoot or whatever.
And now they got the bubble guts for the next 3 hours.
Then you got McDonald's. It was right there by the shoot, it was quick. You got it. Now you're paying the consequences. Now you're like getting weird looks. Because I could never... I just, I will smell a person and I'm thinking like, I don't even want to eat right now. I was going to feel like I want to eat, but now I don't want to eat. I want to go home and
I want to be in solitude
shower.
where the air is clean.
Am I going to get sick? Like, but you just smelled some fart that day, like you inhaled it. And it's like, how can you go eat after? Like, I'm just curious.
I mean, honestly... As crazy as it sounds, because you don't really have to your senses don't really deal with shit stains, but skid marks are worse to me than farts are on set. If a man gets off the bed and I see skid marks, that is where I call cut.
Have you seen that?
Yeah. More than once. And I've actually been the one to have to tell men that they left skid marks on the bed and to go wipe their ass if you plan on finishing the shoot. Like, it's bad.
Not a lot of men buy wet wipes.
I keep wipes in my bathroom, in every bathroom at my house.
Women are all about the wet wipes.
I keep flushable wipes in every bathroom at my house. My house is actually a porn house as well. I date a porn producer and porn owner, or porn company owner.
Nice.
Well, boys.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How is that? Isn't that difficult?
At times it can be, only because it's like, you would think that... you want to leave work and go home and you want to be home in your space, but living in a porn house, it's like you go to work and then you come home and then there's work at home, or it's like you have colleagues in your house and it's like you don't really ever... I do get breaks, don't get me wrong. It's not like I never get a break, but it's just like mentally, just being around that 25/8, it's like, okay.
Don't you hear... Hearing it doesn't do anything to you when you hear it? Because I know like you can just hear it and be like, I'm not horny.
Pretty much, yeah. I've never been a super extreme porn watcher, and even when I do watch porn, it's not for like a sense of like pleasure. Like I don't masturbate to porn.
All right. Interesting.
I masturbate in silence, or like I watch like investigation discovery, like murder documentaries.
Okay, so there's so many clips from this podcast. There's so many clips that I don't know. People are going to think I'm creeping, but there's so many clips.
That's just me, I'm all for the content.
Yeah. So you masturbate to like the whole...
Murder documentaries.
Like 48 hours.
That's what me and my boyfriend fuck to also.
48 hours.
First 48. Not really first 48. It's more like we've already watched every episode of that. It's more
Kevin
so
got
like...
caught for a crime and now he's sitting
Yeah.
just like...
Like, I don't know. It's just, it's very soothing to hear in the background. And then it's like, I don't know if it has to do with, like, psychopathic tendencies.
It's like Mozzie's favorite show, I think. He always watches it. He watches a ton of First 48.
Exactly. It's normal, I feel like. It's like getting education and pleasure at the same time.
So you don't do it to porn at all? You don't masturbate to porn at all?
When I watch porn, I'm either watching it for, like, creative spark, like, to find new ideas for me to film, or I'm watching it for, like, comedy purposes, like pure entertainment. Like I like gangbangs, I like extreme BDSM. I like it's funny to me, like watching people's facial expressions and like reactions. That's more so what I watch porn for. I'm a psychoanalyzer.
I dated girls in my past with life. I can't name anyone specifically, but like some watching rape porn. Yeah. Do you know any girls that watch that, and how do you feel about that? And like, isn't that weird? If like you, because I think it's weird when I hear it. Like, what? You watch that? And have you done that? And it's like, have you done rape porn? And is it like weird, or is it just acting? Like,
I don't know if what I've done would be considered rape porn, but I have done like Like being held captive. I guess
Okay.
that is rape porn. Yeah,
I
like
guess
being
that's a
held
little-
captive
yeah,
and
but-
having to get fucked to get released is like.
Wow. Okay. These plots. Yeah, okay, you're right. You had to get fucked up.
Yeah, like
honest
I
trade,
got
yeah.
like I had this one producer that I worked with. He owns multiple companies, Girls Gone Gyno, Captive Clinic, but Captive Clinic is more so like the BDSM, like torturous side. So
That's a big industry, right?
yeah, and his thing is he likes to focus on like real world controversial topics, but make it porn. So like I don't know if you remember when Wayfair was being accused of selling children as cabinets.
No.
When they were
Oh,
like,
yeah, I did hear
when they
about
were
that,
like
yeah.
giving the cabinets like human names, and then they were able to
Yeah.
match missing kids' cases to like those actual names and stuff.
I did hear about that, yeah.
So I did a porno about that.
Oh.
I was a cabinet that was ordered, and I woke up strapped down to like some medical bed and like.
That's genius.
Yeah.
That is genius. Okay, so yeah, so there's obviously all types of stuff going on out there. Interesting. Okay, and so how long you been in the industry for?
I've been in the sex industry overall for almost 10 years. I've been doing porn for 5.
Okay, 10 years in the sex industry. Okay, I'm not going to ask you about all that. But, so we're going on, what do you see in the porn industry? Like, there's a growing cliche consensus that the women they're on drugs, they're on this. I feel like it's grown so much that just regular people are doing it. It's kind of widely more accepted.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to be noticed for. Do you get noticed for it?
I can
public?
say that it depends on where I'm at. Like on the East Coast, I definitely have a higher fan base than on the West Coast, but that's because a lot of bigger names live out here.
Interesting. So, like, do you get approached in the street for it ever?
I have before. It's not a very common instance. You know, I do have a super girl next door look, and I do have a very very common looking face. Like there are a lot of people that do have very similar faces to me.
Right.
So like even in the porn industry, there's a couple girls that are like practically doppelgangers. So it's easy
Interesting.
for me to live an incognito life outside of the porn industry.
Right. And you're putting on makeup and stuff like that to make it more look.
Correct. And then like on my off days, I'm usually like nappy headed and I don't wear any makeup and I'm hiding in like baggy sweatsuits and hoodies and stuff.
That's how I see a lot of, they just hang it because they don't want to get dressed up all the time. It's annoying.
Well, and we don't want to get approached all the time is the thing. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people, like, when people approach you in public, they don't know how necessarily. Like, people kind of fangirl out. But with the porn industry, it's a lot more on a, like, creepy level. Like, people kind of harass you almost.
Because they think they can get it or something like that, right?
And then it's like, you know, you've heard of, like, people trying to ask celebrities, like, hey, can I get a picture? And the celebrity's like, no. And then they get portrayed as a bitch. It's a little worse for us because we're whores, we're the bottom of the bottom, and people think they can just treat us any type of way. So if we say no, all of a sudden it's like, well, fuck you, you stupid dick sucking bitch. Like people like really get mad at rejection from porn stars.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think they feel like they have this intimate moment with you, right? Because they're sharing their masturbating with you. While they're
But
looking
that's
at you.
one-sided because you see me and I don't see you.
Exactly.
And that's what people have to understand and realize is it's like, we're
don't
kind
know
of
you.
Hannah Montanas. It's the best of both worlds, but right now I'm Miley.
Yeah, like I don't know you. That
I
was
don't.
like, yeah.
And it's like, you know, I've received death threats. Like
For that?
yeah.
For fandom?
Yes.
That's wild. Son.
Or I've had people be like, I hope you get kidnapped and fucking raped until you die. Like, people get really sadistic
These are
when it
lonely
comes to
men.
porn stars.
These are lonely men. What about colleagues? Do they get like that? People that you've done scenes with in the past don't like. Is that like you ever feel like a creeped out vibe from them, or they're just like, no, it's industry stuff? Or
I mean, for the most part, colleagues deal with the same shit you deal with, so they get it. So like a lot of like the male performers that are actually professionals are very laid back. But me personally, I don't get into it with people in general. Like I don't have drama in the porn industry.
right?
I post my work and I go. I don't really like to, you know, give my opinion publicly. I don't like to chime in on debates because all of it is just room for controversy and, you know, people twisting your words.
Right.
So I just don't give any words to twist.
Right. It's just fascinating stuff. Let's talk about the escort world if we can a little bit.
Of course.
So that's a fascinating world because it's very underground. You know, I feel like these women are seeing preachers and husbands a lot, and like
Preachers, husbands,
Preachers.
politicians,
Preachers?
athletes. Oh, I had one preacher actually, and his fetish is like he's very he's more on the BDSM side, so he's a dom and he likes submissive women. He likes pushing your limits and seeing how far you can go. But in the process of like slapping you up and like forcing you to like completely lose all your breath on dick, he likes to talk about God.
Okay, yeah. During? As in his preacher voice?
Yeah. And then afterwards, like, he'll, like, recite a scripture from the Bible or something on your way out, and he'll be like, God was watching us be dirty today.
Does that help it or hurt it?
I mean, it doesn't do anything to me. I'm getting paid to be there.
So
So
you're
it's
just like, whatever.
I have very thick skin. Like, honestly, somebody could tell me that they fucked a giraffe today, and as long as I was paid to intake that information, I'm not going to react. Like, it's just like, oh, cool, how was it? Like,
that is very interesting. Okay. And obviously, you get the husbands a lot.
oh,
right?
1,000%. But sometimes I get the wives, too. And those are, like, the more fun
Really?
I love couples.
Wives call for escort services and pay for it? Mm-hmm. Why would they do that?
Because they know you're a professional, so they know there's no bullshit to it. 9 times out of 10, I can't speak for everybody, but escorts practice safe sex, so it's usually a cleaner alternative to trying to, have fun within your marriage. Again, just no bullshit, no drama. You're not going to get outed to your employers or your friends or your family because most escorts live by the #1 rule of discretion on both ends. And we're experienced sexually, so it's like we might be teaching you something that you don't know, which helps you guys spice up your sex life.
Right. They do give good advice, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
Because they're all in relationships. They know the backstory. They see the real truth.
And I mean, I bring, especially if I know I'm doing a couple session, I try to bring as many toys as possible.
Interesting.
So I usually am introducing people to like new sex toys or like new positions or like, you can do this to her if you're getting lazy. Like I'll act as the man because I'm very dominant with women.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm kind of dominant with both. I'm just a whore for men and women. I'm just a whore.
I mean, you're just open to it, That's great. That you're just very open and it's like, whatever.
Yeah, but usually I'm able to like even educate the men on how to please women when it comes to like couple sessions.
Interesting. Interesting. It's very fascinating how open you are about it because I feel like a lot of women would not want to be open about it. It's going to be embarrassed about like, why? Why is it embarrassed? Like, we all watch it.
It's only embarrassing because you feel the judgment and you have underlying insecurity. When you're secure within yourself, when you're comfortable within your body, there is no amount of judgment in this world that can get you to break your character.
Do you have advice for women that might be wanting to get into it, like, or things they should watch out for? Or...
My honest advice would be to do your research, but also if you know you do not have thick skin, if you know you are easily offended, if you know you are sensitive, if you know that your emotions are very fluid, do not join.
Why? Because
you will be broken very easily, and that's exactly where manipulation falls in. You're going to get manipulated by companies or, talent. You're going to get manipulated by fans. You're going to end up overturning your own boundaries for the sake of a quick dollar, and then you're going to regret it. And this is not from personal experience. No one can make me cross my boundaries, but just from what I've seen and what I know.
What you've experienced, what you witnessed.
I've seen this industry run a lot of people dry. I don't know if you watched the Hot Girls Wanted documentary on Netflix, but Ryan had mentioned something, most girls only last in this industry about 3 months. And that still to this day is accurate. New girls join porn every day, but not everybody makes it. And it's because there's a lot of women who think, and even men, they think they're cut out for it. They think they can handle it. And then they get on set. Their anxiety that they already had before kicks in, and then there's a bunch of external factors around that just amplify it, and women end up running themselves dry. You end up needing a therapist, or you end up on drugs. Or you end up hating yourself, and you go back to a regular day job, and it's like it wasn't worth it at that point.
Fascinating. So, like, sometimes when I shoot music videos, there's like an unprofessional model that you can tell because she wants to drink. She wants to get comfortable, but I'm like, you're about to get sloppy. Like,
you're not going to be able to take direction in the next 5
cute.
minutes.
You don't look cute when you're drunk, ladies, when you're not a real model. You don't look cute. You look like you're out of place. Do you see that? Like on set? Have you ever seen that on set? Like a girl just like, can I take a drink? And then just like
every day. A lot of women have a substance of choice. A lot of people have a substance of choice in the porn industry. It's very rare that you will find somebody that is just completely scotch-free, drug-free.
Right. It's rare. It's rare.
It's extremely rare because, you know, you have to cope in this industry. Like I said, it's a very gritty industry to be in. And so if you didn't have some sort of substance problem beforehand, you might end up with one.
Interesting.
And so a lot of people do stuff to take the edge off on set. Even myself, I can admit, although mine is more for medical purposes, I have nerve damage and back problems. So
that's gotta be tough.
Oh yeah, but you know, during sex, you don't really feel it because endorphins take away the pain. So
Okay. But they're being aggressive, I'm sure, right? And
so that's where my substance of choice kicks in. So I take Percocets on set, but I never take a full pill. Like I don't like getting belligerent. I like being fully aware at all times, but I like being able to have the pain relief because it helps with my performance. And then, as we all know, perks tend to typically make people horny, so it boosts my performance. But no, I've seen people belligerently drunk on set to the point where like the shoot couldn't even be carried out because you can tell the person is under the influence.
That's interesting. And that just ruins the set, ruins the shoot, right?
Well, legally, you cannot shoot somebody who is under the influence. So if they're visibly belligerent, it's not usable anyways.
Right. It's kind of a hard thing to call, though, and tack you on legally because it's just...
Exactly. And so that's why, you know, like, if we're being real, almost every single porn producer, like, has something on set, at least alcohol, for the models to, you know, get comfortable and warm up. But, they do tell people to know their limits at the same time. You know, it's okay to get tipsy. Don't get shit-faced.
Interesting. Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk about just the whole the porn thing again with shooting and all. Yeah, I had some questions here actually. Well, I asked about you. So yeah, I wanted to ask about racism. Like, do you see race? Because like when you look at the titles when you're looking at porn, they seem very like racially involved. You know what I mean? So do you experience that on set, or you know certain derogative ways of speaking? Like does that play a part? That's like whoa, it's uncalled for. Like you know how does that go down?
I personally have not experienced extreme racism on set, but I also do work with a lot of Black-owned companies.
Okay.
So
that's good then, right?
Yeah, you know, I haven't gone mainstream yet. I was supposed to do Bang Bros a couple years back, and then all of a sudden they weren't interested. It is what it is. But I haven't gone mainstream to really be faced with the extreme racism that performers of color are faced with on set. However, it does exist 1,000%. It absolutely exists. They try to lowball performers of color.
Interesting.
They not completely, but because again, every situation's different. But in these situations where racism is displayed, they will completely disregard your boundaries, limitations. Like there was an incident with a company recently where a woman was, she was restrained in the air. And they were trying to get the shot. Like, she didn't have any, like, footing. Like, she was completely in the air restrained. It was a woman of color. And after a certain point, she had, like, you know, vocalized. She said her safe word, and she's like, hey, like, my circulation's starting to cut off. And they were just like, okay, hold on. Well, we need to get the shot. Hold on. And she was like, I can't feel my left hand. And they're like, hold on. We're in the middle of trying to get the shot. Like, just wait a second. And by the time they cut her down from the restraints, her hand was completely limp.
Oh. And
they just completely disregarded it. And then she had another scene the next day with the same company and another woman of color. It was supposed to be a girl, but it was full ebony. And I guess because of the day before, you know, because she had vocalized her issues on Twitter. Like, you know, she was vocal about it. She came out and she's like, yo, this company's like fucked up. But she still had the scene to do the next day. And so they went to, they were in the dressing room getting ready. They were doing their makeup and everything. And the producers literally, as one of them was almost done with her makeup, it was supposed to be her first scene where she had her natural hair out, her afro. And she was super excited for it. She had been tweeting about it all week. Producers come in as soon as her makeup's done and it's just like, yeah, your guys' scene is canceled. And they ended up shooting 2 white girls that same day.
That's not. Ugh.
Yeah.
Sprue, that's what you talk about, the thick skin.
Yeah, you definitely have to have it because it's more than just, listening to fans and they're trolling. People get very, very racist, very prejudiced, even within the industry, except they're very passive about it. Mm-hmm. It's very microaggressive.
Non-spoken about because you'll be ousted or something like that.
Exactly.
Right?
But the thing is, they'll also do it in a soft tone with a smile on their face so that if you were to react, you look like the aggressor.
Right. It's a little trick that games they play.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of games out there they play. Why do you feel that they need advice, that they go through depression? What is it about the industry? Obviously, we talked about it a little before. You have to have thick skin. But, what does it do to a girl's psyche that you've seen, that you witnessed? You know what I mean? It's eventually just going to eat you up, right? You have to.
If you don't have the proper support and outlets and you're consistently faced in situations that could be considered traumatizing, then yes.
Okay.
But after a certain point, and it may sound harsh to say, a lot of the things I say sound harsh. After a certain point, you have to take accountability for allowing certain things. If you place yourself in certain rooms where there's been controversy about this said company, or if you had a certain gut feeling and you decided to ignore it or pass it off as anxiety, you cannot be mad at the outcome when you put yourself in that position.
Right.
So after a certain point, you have to either deal with it or don't.
Right.
And that's more so why, I've been in the porn industry for 5 years, but my catalog is very small compared to the time I've been in here. And that is because I'm very selective with who I shoot with, because I refuse to traumatize myself in this industry.
Because it could happen with too many shoots, you're saying?
Not even necessarily with too many shoots, but just being around the wrong people or being on the wrong set.
Right. And what could that do, being on the wrong set? Because you're obviously around weird-ass producers that are just profit-hungry, greed-driven, and abusive.
Exactly. And that's more so, closer to, bigger porn production companies. A lot of the smaller companies are a lot more personable. They're a lot more understanding, respectful. And that's not to say that all of them are good. There are some predators within the pro-am industry as well. But for the most part, my experience dealing with the companies I've dealt with, I haven't had any bad experiences.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I want to talk about the dating thing that goes on in the scene, because I know you're dating someone now that's obviously in the industry, but maybe before that happened, does that become a difficult thing?
1,000%.
Yeah, do women go, well, it's gonna be hard to date now, right?
Yeah. So actually, before I was with the boyfriend I'm with now, I had a previous boyfriend for a couple years. And he was actually my boyfriend in high school. Then we broke up. 6 years later, we reconnected. And by then, I was already doing porn. He was already doing what he was doing. And in the beginning, he was like, I know what you do. I understand. I get it. I respect the hustle, like every man does. But the deeper we got into our relationship, the less and less he was okay with it. And I already anticipated that happening. But because we had known each other for so long, I was being delusional a little bit. And I was like, well, no, we have too tight of a bond. Everything's understood. And it wasn't until one day towards the end of our relationship. So a couple days before that, I remember waking up in the morning and he was just mugging my entire life. He woke up mad. And I'm just like, dude, cheer up. What the fuck is wrong with you? And a couple days later, he asks me, he's like, so, when you're talking to these porn producers and your clients and everything, when you're flirting with them or when you're using suggestive language, is that just work or do you really feel that way? And I'm like, okay, so you went through my phone. You went through my phone is what you're telling. So that's why you were mad when you woke up the other morning, because you went through my phone while I was asleep. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have did that.
So what did he find, if you don't mind me asking? What did he see?
He was upset, and it's ironic because the person he was upset over is now my current boyfriend. But we weren't flirting. So he was upset because my now boyfriend had sent me some photos of the sex dungeon that he had set up, because I said that I wanted to do a kidnapping scene. I wanted to get kidnapped and held for ransom.
Right.
And so was sending me pictures of like the dungeon and everything, and like I responded like with heart eyes and everything, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so fucking excited. Like that's what we were talking about.
Right. And he's like, you're getting excited for work? No one's excited for work or something like that, right?
Hell yeah, I get excited for work.
Yeah.
I get to make art. That's what I see it as. It's
right.
art.
It's art. It is the way the relation and chemistry go down.
If you take the sex out of it, it's just like being fucking Emma Stone or Zac Efron. Like, we're actors, dude.
Yeah.
It's like filming a movie, except we're naked and penetrating.
Well, there are good scenes and there's not so many good scenes.
Right.
You know?
Same thing with movie production.
And there's good angles and there's not so many good angles.
Right.
And, yeah. Angles is a lot, I felt like.
Angles is a major factor in porn because, you know, if you're not catching what needs to be caught, there's no point in even having the camera on.
It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
Live is just fantasy. Dan, we're almost at the hour-minute mark here. Okay. So we got a couple questions. There's probably a lot we're not going to get into, but fascinating shit, dude. Okay. And then so let's talk about dating a little bit then. And this is the question I've been asking women because it just with this whole Andrew Tate stuff going around, toxic masculinity, it's brought up so many cool topics on social media.
Right.
Right. Like you have these women on podcasts now and you have the guys saying something and the girls. So it's interesting. So one thing I talk to girls about is like it's coming very apparent that men look less attractive when they're broke. I think back in the day in my era, like that didn't matter. So I consider you a girl of this era.
Right.
Right.
I'm a 98 baby, so I'm there.
You're a 98 baby. That's very current.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that how a lot of women think? Like, you know, the guy at the Lowe's or the Home Depot, it's just not like, I don't, you know.
I mean, honestly, I think that way. Being bisexual, I see that for both genders. If a woman doesn't keep up with herself, I look like, damn, you dusty bitch. But it's like the same thing for men. Like, absolutely. Like, if you don't got your lineup done, you got holes at the bottom of your jeans. Like, and it's nothing wrong with not being where you want to be in life financially, but at least work on it. And also, like, you know, you got to look how you feel, you know, or look how you want to feel. And I also believe in staying ready so you don't have to get ready. You know, no one's going to hand you a corporate job if you're looking like you're a car washer.
You got to look the part.
So at least try to make yourself look presentable. You know, you got to manifest. You have to be what you want to attract.
Yeah.
So even if you're feeling like shit that day, get up, do your hair, put your makeup on, put your best suit on. Like, no one needs to know you're broke. If people are walking around looking broke, they're choosing to walk around that way. And at that point, it's not even like a financial situation. That's their lifestyle and their personality.
Preach, man. Got some wisdom about you, bro.
A little bit. I've been
Well,
here
I feel
before.
like this industry gives you wisdom, doesn't it? Because you just see this side that society doesn't want to talk about, but it's obviously there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, even in the porn industry, like, we have bosses and bums. Like, there's some men that will show up, like, dirt under their fingernails, ain't got their hair cut. Like, you could just tell, like
suck on my finger.
teeth looking yellow, and it's like, dude, balls not trimmed. I'm not deep-throating your fucking fro, dude.
Oh, that's nasty, right?
It's
fro on the
disgusting.
thing. Yeah.
At least trim it a little bit. I hate a man that expects you to go all the way deep and doesn't properly groom the landscaping.
Yeah, one of my exes recently commented just like, she's like, thank you for keeping your penis clean all the time.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just like, yeah, because sometimes it's not, and I'll smell my ball sweat, and that shit is nasty, and I don't know how y'all do it.
But that's
I don't know
point.
how y'all just are down to just eat ball sweat when you're pleasure. Like, thank you.
And I'm glad you admitted that, because some men will get offended when you tell them to go take a shower. But at that point, it's like,
Ball sweat is fucking disgusting, bro. It smells just like, as a man, I smell.
as a human being, it is a proven scientific fact that you can smell your own body odor before anybody else in the room can. So if I can smell you, that's not okay.
Yeah. Trust me. Trust me, I'm in the studio a lot, so rappers, you know, they tend to smell.
I'm like, the second I smell like any bit of little like twang, like, oh, I've been outside for too long, now I'm going home.
I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, so they're always on the move, they're on the go, but they smell. It's because of the diet, you're eating bad food.
Yeah, if you know you're on the move all day, then eat lighter, eat a salad, eat a bowl of fruit, like drink water, stop drinking soda all fucking day. Like, I'm sorry, but coffee and energy drinks do not smell good when they come out of the pores.
Thank you. Especially energy drinks. And when they fart.
Especially energy drinks.
When they fart.
Oh, God.
I'm sure a lot of actors in the industry drink energy drinks, right? Or is that a thing or is that not? Because of the whole heart thing.
I mean, everyone has their, I don't know.
No one's just slamming a Red Bull before set. We have like the same
diets as like humans. Like, I don't know. For me personally, I don't limit what I eat regardless of if I'm shooting or not. But that's because I have like a stomach of steel. So like I could drink 3 espresso shots before a shoot and I'll be perfectly fine.
Okay.
But not everybody's body is the same. So it takes knowing your body's limits.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we gotta go. We're at the hour minute mark. But thank you, Kalani. That was amazing content. We'd like to have you back in a couple months.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Talk about some more interesting stuff, man. Create Studios podcast. Do you want to talk about anything before we get out of here, or mention anything, or?
Just thank you for having me. You guys make sure to get your nut off to me when this drops. Kalani Luana. I am KalaniLuana.com. And don't forget about Whoa Boys. You know, they're the hottest thing moving on the East Coast.
Let's go, man. Create Studios podcast featuring Kalani Luana. Kalani Luana. Sorry. Hey, we're going to be back, y'all. All right. Later.